stay a while and listen.
Are we cold starting this?
Are we cold starting? No, it's I decided to do a little different stuff and another episode. I was like, I'll start with an iconic line from Diablo 2.
Actually, which is
Deckard Cain, yeah. So Deckard Cain would always go, stay a while and listen when you talk to him.
That's not I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I mean, you're staying a while and listening, right? Today, this is, just in case you're unaware, this is our podcast called Canonically.
Canonically?
Inconically. I don't know. Blank incorrect. something incorrect.
Every week we change the name of our show.
Yeah, something incorrect. We are still working to expand. Hit a little snag. I'm working on that. Some of us are poor. So I've been working on getting a new job and all that to get paid.
Yeah.
So we are still going to expand, just a heads up. For those of you, or the two of you listening.
And every Friday we still have a stream going.
Yeah, every Friday we are streaming. Last Friday we actually had, 6 viewers total?
Like, overall, I think we had 6, come by. So
I mean, that doesn't sound like nothing. I mean, it sounds like nothing to most people, but that's like...
But for starting off, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, it's 6 times as many as the week before, so...
The week before we had 2 people coming, but I think someone came in by accident.
Yeah, so three times, depending on how you... Anyway, yeah, every Friday we stream on Twitch. I do put it on Twitter, the 10 followers I have. Or I don't know how many I have anymore. So just keep that in mind. We are expanding. This is a podcast for really anything nerd related.
Yeah, geek, nerd, weeb, whatever you want to be called.
So
it's all the same to me.
Yeah, so those listening, that every episode we do a theme, and this week's episode is
ARPG.
Or
isometric RPG.
Yeah, or Diablo-like, whatever you want to call it.
I mean... I just wish there was something that was universally agreed.
Yeah, because some people... we can get on why some people don't consider them ARPGs. I mean, they consider Witcher 3 an action RPG. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's this week's episode. Just for those of you who don't know, I am Zach.
I'm Eugene.
And we're co-hosting this podcast, and we're going to, like I said, expand... But stay a while and listen. That's 3. Where's that 4? I don't know. So we start off each episode with news,
and then geek potpourri,
which is what we're doing within the week, or randomness, and then we go into the theme of
the episode.
Yeah. So, Eugene, any news?
No real geek news, I guess, in this case. Like, that I know of, nothing big.
I don't know if this is news or potpourri, but you're watching Evo.
Yeah.
Did you see that whole what happened in the Dragon Ball Fighter final?
Yeah, that would be my geek potpourri, because that's technically not
We'll
news. Save
that, because that, there's some controversy. We'll say that's actually good. We have a little, we can see where we stand on that. So I guess news-wise, just Evo ended.
Yeah, and I guess that'd be news, because that is, just happened.
The big fighting tournament. It's kind of seen as
it's like the Super Bowl of fighting games.
Yeah, it's almost like it's one of the 2 or 3 major things in gaming that tournament wise you see.
Yeah, I mean, there are very big tournaments, but that's one of the few global tournaments. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a fan of fighting, you watch or you're at Evo. So
exactly.
So that just ended.
And then I guess since this is kind of news and geek potpourri at the same time, we'll just keep on continuing, because it's.
So talk about Evo, So let's move on to Geek Potpourri, which we'll talk about, which is mainly Evo.
Yeah.
And what happened at the finals of Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Yeah, that was really stupid in my opinion, stalling for a lot of time.
So, for those of you who don't know, there's a big, it's a Dragon Ball Z fighter. Player by the name of Sonic Fox, I think is his name.
Yeah, Sonic Fox.
And I don't know, the Gio, G-I-O.
Oh, Goichi. It's Go 1, which
Go 1, got it.
Ichi is 1, so.
Oh.
That's how his name is said.
Clever. Sonic Fox is already, as far as my little understanding of the thing is, he's already a controversial figure.
Yes, he is.
Because he's a furry and gay, and
I don't know about the gay part, I've heard.
He's a gay furry.
But I know about the furry part.
Let me put it this way. After he won, the first thing he says, I'm gay, deal with it, I'm also the best at Dragon Ball.
Okay. So, yeah. That's the argument.
The reason why he's controversial is not mainly because of that, although the furry kind of. Why he's controversial is his attitude in the past.
Yes, it is. And it's still a problem nowadays.
He has an attitude.
He has an attitude. if he loses, he does not hold his L's very well.
Yeah, he overreacts.
He overreacts. If your opinion's not the same as his, he's like, you're completely wrong on that.
Yeah, but he's considered one of the best.
Oh no,
fighting. I mean, Smash Brothers, is that the other one he's good in?
No, it's the Mortal Kombat series.
Mortal Kombat series.
Yeah. So like, as a player, I respect him. As a person, I do not respect him.
Yeah, I agree. He has a lot of skill, but I just don't like his personality.
Yeah,
especially what he pulled off in the final. So what happened was we don't have to go into technicality of loser brackets and resetting and all that.
If you want to know more, we could probably go more into competitive.
Yeah, so what happened is it was reset, and Go-1 was...
Go-Ichi won the reset.
He was the reset. So what happened is Go-Ichi was on a winning streak.
Yeah.
And in order to cool his jets, because, adrenaline and all that, and to kind of disrupt him, Sonic Fox decides to use a rule that I don't know if I've ever seen. In fact,
I knew about the rule, but that's
the
a real
judges
rule.
didn't even know about it, right? Because it took like 5 minutes.
No, because nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So he called a seat swap. You know how when you're playing on the same screen, you're one player one's on one side, player two's on the other.
It only matters in one game reality.
Yeah,
which is Tekken, because I guess I will explain this to you to make more sense. In Tekken, your commands gets kind of flopped when you're on the opposite side.
Right.
So, like, the way you dodge moves is different because it's 3D fighting. But in a 2D fighter where you switch sides a lot,
it doesn't matter
too much. It only matters at the start.
So what you need to know is the switch wasn't because of anything more than the fact that he wanted to stall for time. Like, when a soccer player pretends they're injured.
Yeah, that's a good analogy to put out.
Yeah, that's what we kind of want to do. It was like the fake sports injury of fighting games, and it's seen as a kind of a scummy move.
It is a scummy move, and like I said, the only game that matters is 3D fighters.
Yeah,
because like in 3D fighters, when you swing with your right hand, you swing with the character's right hand. So if you're on the other side, it's coming from the other direction.
Yeah. So I mean, here's what I'll say about this, though. I don't know if that made the difference. I mean, it can, because when you're on a win streak,
I think it made enough difference to cool his jets.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, maybe he might have won, maybe he not.
Yeah, but
it seemed like it was enough to, like, the streak that Go-Ichi was on. Mm-hmm. It seemed like he slowed down because he cooled down.
Definitely. I mean, it was a 5-minute switch. I mean, it was definitely a stall tactic.
It definitely was a stall.
So that's the first major, I guess, Geek Potpourri and Evo. And there's one more. I don't know if you saw this in the Smash 4.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah,
what happened at Smash 4?
Yeah, that one was where two players just literally just taunted and stalled for time. And people are like, why is nobody liking this game?
Yeah, so...
The players are why, actually. I don't know, I hate to say this, but the players.
So, what happens is two people, they were in the loser's bracket, right?
No, it was grand finals.
Was it the grand finals?
It was grand finals, from what I remember.
I know they both got booed because they played, like, the most OP character, Bayonetta.
Yeah, Bayonetta. Like, people say, some people who play the game say she's not, but everybody else can look at the game and say she's overpowered.
So, they were booed by the audience. And so, they were kind of friends, I guess, or friends.
I think they were friends. I'm not exactly sure on this.
They kind of decided, you know what? We're just going to kind of stick it to the audience, and we're going to do nothing for until they literally just stood there and then taunted and didn't fight for the first 2 minutes of the match
because the staff had to step in and tell them.
Yeah,
they had to.
And this is the big, this is the big grand finals. I mean,
yeah, I know. And people are wondering why the Smash 4 community is looked down upon by many people.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the players.
It's definitely the players.
It's the fan base. I mean,
any fan base will probably do that. That's not. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie about that.
But both sides are wrong in my opinion on this one. The audience for booing for choosing a top. It's
a tournament. It's a competition. As a competition, you pick whatever you're the best with, and then you don't play it for fun. You play to win.
And apparently, from what I understand, Bayonetta is not a very interesting match. That's another reason they got booed, because she's not very
because because they just calm each other death, so they play very safe.
Yeah, so they were booed, but their reaction definitely was kind of a middle finger when they just for 2 minutes they kind of doing that to piss off the audience.
Yeah, it's both both were at fault. I'm not gonna lie at that.
Yeah, definitely.
like the fan base and the players are at both fault here.
But I have a feeling. I mean, this is probably the last Evo. Well, major. Where Smash 4 will be,
because Smash Ultimate's coming out to overtake that.
Yeah, and if you think, and people are complaining about Smash 4 being unbalanced. Oh man, every single fighter.
I mean, I hate to say this, but the more options you give, the more unbalanced things become, no matter the game.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you give Diablo 2, I mean, if you give if you play Diablo 2 and you're allowed to mix classes, imagine how broken that'll be.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you give more options.
Oh yeah, definitely. The more options, the more ability there is to be broken, and it makes it hard to balance. Overwatch players will understand that, because Overwatch is having more and more balance issues as more and more characters are introduced.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, I mean, that just happens. I mean, it's impossible to balance every single character.
As much as everyone wants things to be balanced, I know it's impossible, like, in reality.
But I just think it was kind of an embarrassment to gamers, and
it really,
because it's supposed to be, like you said, the Super Bowl. Like, they're supposed to be as professional as possible, and these two incidents
at the same time, I mean, like, there's some level of professionality. I mean, I mean,
we're not professional, but you
could taunt them, like, you could taunt them in real life, and that's half the fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that two controversy I hated.
Yeah, so it's kind of like showing the difference between sportsmanship and video games. Like, that's not really sportsmanship. Like,
at that point, that's not. I mean, there's trash talking. I love that.
Yeah, that's part of the game. But like when you undermine the game to win, or you undermine the spirit to...
Yeah, I don't like that.
There's a difference. There's a fine line.
There's a fine line between sportsmanship and just flat out pissing on the game, and I think they both did it.
Yeah, they definitely pissed on that game. I mean, I'm on a fighter follower, and I heard about this. So yeah, that's how much of the ripples...
oh, yeah, it is. I was going to talk to Dan about some stuff Sunday.
So, yeah. Is there anything else in Geek Potpourri you want to talk about?
Not really. I mean, that's my big thing, and that's about it, really.
All right, so let's move on to the meat of the episode.
Action RPGs.
And
Diablo-like.
And whatever. Isometric, whatever. And how we're going to do this, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about each game. We'll give a rating, maybe.
Yeah, we'll give it a rating.
Give a rating.
5 being average.
Yeah, 5 being average, 10 being amazing. And we'll go through each one, and we'll kind of go through the history of us playing it, and kind of versus now as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I think for some games, we should give what we thought back then versus some we thought now.
Because before we started, you were talking about Diablo, the first one.
The first one, which I thought was really fun.
Does not hold up.
It definitely does not.
All right, so we should probably start
with Diablo.
I mean, this is a Diablo-like genre.
Yeah, we got to start it off.
You got to start off with the thing that kicked off. I mean, it wasn't the first, but it was the one that made...
Yeah, it was the one that made it popular. Right?
Yeah.
So we'll start... What was there one before that?
I don't know.
There probably was.
I mean, if you count the Wizardry series, it's a first person, but it's kind of like a dungeon crawler.
But if anything, Diablo, at least we say Diablo the first to do it well.
Yeah, it's the first well-known. So we'll start with the first Diablo, which came out in, 97, 98?
Something like that. It was back when you lived on...
we're not
going to say it out loud.
Old place. So...
You almost ruined it.
So it came out, we were in elementary school, I guess, 5th, 6th grade.
Yeah. Once again, the devil, but I guess it was the devil.
I'll start with my experiences with it, because I remember when I first saw it, I saw it believe it or not, they sold it at a Toys R Us.
Yeah, they sold everything at Toys R Us back then.
Even mature games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw it. I'm like, oh man, I looked in the back of the box and I was like, oh, an RPG game where I can be a wizard and cast spells and kill demons, and it kind of reminded me of Gauntlet. You remember Gauntlet?
I remember Gauntlet, yeah.
I was like, oh man, for the PC, this is something I've been looking for. I really feel like I want to feel like a badass.
Yeah.
And so I'm like slaying demons, going into the basement of a church, essentially. Looked good to me. I mean, I got it, brought it home.
You showed it to me, which is how I got into it.
When I started that game, I remember it just blew my mind because it was different for the time.
It was very different it was something that we'd never seen before as a young kid.
Back in the day, it seemed a lot bigger, like the world did.
Yeah,
the town at least.
At first, I didn't like the game because at first I was like, oh, whatever, you're just running around clicking around. You didn't get any because we didn't get sealed. But once I started playing, I remember this like I got invested as a kid because you grew with the character.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because you invest in the character and your character, you get results.
Yeah, you got results, and I like that. Like, I think that's why like I said when I first played it, like because you showed it to me, like, oh, whatever. I played it too because we did that all the time.
You know what I liked about that game that isn't replicated in any of the other Diablos? That when you found a spell, you can learn it. Like, you found a book.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't, like, level up and learn a spell. You found books and drops off enemies, and they drop, like, scrolls that you can learn the spell to use, and...
I think, yeah.
I kind of like that. I mean, it was kind of interesting, because you can kind of, like... It's almost kind of like another hunting aspect. Like, you want to hunt for certain spells, or... stuff like that. I mean, it was a very small...
I mean, the game was all hunting anyway. So.
I mean, yeah, it was loot hunting, but... Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the game was...
I guess Path of Exile sort of did that, where you have to find certain gems.
Yeah, Path of it, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
The big thing for me with Diablo, the first one, was the online component.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where we kind of talk about how in the past, we have...
56K?
Yeah. Nostalgia for past things, because back then it was a rare occurrence to meet other players online, like in a game.
Yeah, that's true.
To be able to chat.
I think the only time that we had that before that was StarCraft, and Counter-Strike.
Right, and so it's like a Final Fantasy. I mean, it's like an RPG that you can play with people even if they're not in the same room as you.
Yeah, so that's something that.
So that was just great. Yeah, I mean, you join a game, you see all these people, and then their character back then, with nostalgia eyes, they look badass. I mean, now they look like a mess of pixels.
And we couldn't. I remember when we first played, we had to keep on typing out everything, and that kind of got a little annoying, especially like when we weren't paying attention to the screen.
Yeah, voice chat really wasn't a thing back then.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't really be on the phone because cell phones weren't really a thing. I mean, they kind of, but weren't. I mean, we didn't have cell phones back then.
I mean, they weren't readily available for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, your 10-year-old kid, your 9-year-old kid didn't have a cell phone back then.
I mean, it was also like triple the price compared to nowadays.
So really your only way of communicating was through type.
Typing through AIM?
Yeah, AIM.
Or in the game, but like... Yeah. We didn't know about alt-tabbing, so we had to go through it. We had to wait for each other on AIM first.
Yeah.
And then we had to go on through...
Yeah, so, I mean, it was interesting, because it was a way to socialize with your friends that really didn't exist mainstream back then.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the nostalgia that Diablo has, I feel like. The first part where...
Yeah, it's just, at this point it feels like nostalgia to me, but I would not trade what we currently have.
The story was interesting. I mean, it was dark. I didn't really remember as a kid. I didn't really follow it too much.
Right? I didn't follow too much either. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I just knew we're slaying demons.
I'll never forget, though, fresh meat. When the butcher first... And then I'm like, oh my god, that kind of scared me as a kid.
I forgot about the butcher completely.
So yeah, I mean, it's a game where it's kind of like Gauntlet, like I said.
Yeah.
Like, there's not infinite levels, but there's a lot of levels, 20-something. I can't remember how many levels there are.
There was a lot. I don't remember.
And you're like in a labyrinth at this church, and you're going deeper and deeper until eventually you go to essentially the pits of hell itself, or the portal to hell, anyway. And that's where you face Diablo. And there's a gothic story to it, and you choose your typical 3 characters. You have a warrior, an archer,
and a wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what I remember.
I think they call him a rogue instead of an archer. They call her.
I think you're right. I wasn't paying attention when I replayed it for this episode.
Yeah, so you go in, you go deep, and you fight all these things. You get treasure. It's very slow moving.
It's very choppy nowadays that I look at it.
Yeah, and online, but the main component, I really didn't play it single player. I mostly played it only online.
Yeah, I think I played a single player when I had no access to internet because somebody used the phone line.
Okay, yeah. I get that. So yeah, I mean, this was like an online game where you can see it's kind of like an MMO, but not an MMO.
Right? Yeah.
You have your progress. And
what MMO was out there? Oh yeah, Lineage.
I don't know if you remember though. Do you remember the problem with Diablo Online?
No.
You remember I still remember. I think I still remember almost how to do it. You could dupe items.
Oh yeah. You're duping items.
And so like people would give me like free stuff, or they'd do, hold on, let me dupe this for you real quick. And what you do is you would drop the item at the very same time as you picking up that item. You would like click a scroll in your inventory or something like that, and like try to put it where the item should be, and it caused the computer to fuck out, if a better term words, and it'd drop an extra. It'd be like there'd be no room for in your inventory, so it'd drop an extra storm shield or whatever the item would be, and so it dupes it, it copies it, and so. Back then, when you're a kid, you're like, "Oh, that's awesome." Of course, as an adult, you kind of realize that kind of ruins the economy.
It does in the long run. But yeah, I don't remember that, but that sounds about something right.
I mean, I remember how I learned how to do it, and I started doing it myself. I was part of the problem.
I mean, you're younger.
And then the main thing to do after you beat the game is to duel each other.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I mean, it was like real basic.
It was really bad from what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything special, but it was fun. I mean, for what it was.
Yeah.
It was like an RPG where I can play with other people. Something I never had played before. Like, that... Like I said, that cohesiveness where you're playing with other people is just a big...
I mean, I think that was big with any games back then. Like, the fact that we got to play Counter-Strike, not with 2 people, not with 4 people...
Right.
But like 10 people?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, you gotta realize this is like the dawn of the internet age for gaming.
Yeah, like the fact that you even met more than 4 people on a game at once was amazing in itself.
Yeah, I mean today you take for granted how
PUBG,
like everything is online.
Yeah.
Like, we had no communication with each other if we weren't in person, really. I think that's a big part of it. Because think about it. Before that, we didn't
I had to call you or I had to go to your house.
Yeah, and so, like, now we're always connected to each other, even if we're not in person,
Yeah.
And we don't even talk to each other. We just type. That was something new back then. I think it's a big part of why Diablo, and we'll talk about in a second, Diablo 2 was huge.
Yeah. You want to give the rating for Diablo 1?
Yeah, both. We'll give 2 ratings, one for back then, one for now.
One for now.
My back then rating would probably be like a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, back then I probably wouldn't give it as high as Zach back then. I did like it. I'd probably give it like a 7 or 8. But that was, once again, we were younger.
Yeah.
And I played it recently again just for this episode to talk about it. And if I were to give it like nowadays, I'd give it like a 4 or 3.
I played it about maybe 5 years ago. From what I remember, I wasn't impressed. I would say probably like a 5, just because I'm taking the fact that I know age is not a good thing for that game.
Yeah, but, I mean, the game did not age well, and I mean, it did lead the way to a much better game, though.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 or 5 because other games have aged a lot better.
Yeah, and like I said, it also led away for the better game, which is Diablo 2.
Oh man, Diablo.
Everything
2.
about Diablo 1 that was terrible. Diablo, I wouldn't say everything, but Diablo 2 fixed a lot of it.
Oh my god, Diablo 2. First off, the first game as we talked about was kind of like a corridor type game only. Where
you're right.
You're in like just one big dungeon and you had to
keep on going. Yeah.
Diablo 2 introduces like a kind of an open world-ish. I mean,
you didn't. It's not a direct straight path, but you could go sideways.
Yeah, I mean, there's maps and all that, but like, there's like 4 acts. There's like different things, and I remember this game was like
boss farming.
When I first started the game up, and I stepped outside that town, my mind. Boom! Like
the world is much bigger in that game.
And then I remember I was so excited that you can go into a cave. And it was like a dungeon. There's a mini dungeon in each cave, and there's like a lot of side caves and dungeons.
The one thing I didn't like
optional.
The one thing I didn't like about it now and even today is how dark some of the dungeons look.
I like it and I hate it at the same time.
Yeah, as an atmosphere thing, it's great, but like...
I mean, because do you remember the stat? There was a stat called light radius.
Oh, I don't remember that.
So, I mean, there was a stat for everything. I mean, stamina is a controversial thing. People like, what's the point of stamina? Because after like level 5, you were always running.
Yeah.
But the game blew my mind. I found this. I remember when I was opening up and installing it, I was so excited. I remember I was watching Hey Arnold on Nickelodeon while I was...
I didn't even know the second game came out until you showed it once again.
Yeah, so I was really excited. I was reading them back in the instruction manuals that it came with were...
telling you everything about every enemy.
Like, it was going the backgrounds into, like, what the spells a sorceress could cast. Like, saying, like, the Blizzard spell was created when a battle of demons... And they were... like, it went into the background of why the spell even exists. It was awesome. And I was, like, getting so excited to get this game. I'm like, oh my god, I can summon a blizzard? I mean, before you can just shoot, like, different fireballs out. Now I can summon a blizzard, or I can summon a hydra.
And then, not only that, when you got the expansion, the game was like, what? what's a paladin?
Well, yeah.
Because I got... And you're like, wait, what?
Well, the first expansion introduced the druid and the assassin.
Oh, yeah, druid and the assassin.
The druid and the assassin. The base game had the paladin, the barbarian, the Amazoness, the sorceress, and the necromancer.
I thought necromancer was expansion. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're getting Diablo 3 and Diablo 2 mixed up.
Maybe. You're probably right.
Because the first Diablo 2, the only two added characters was the druid and the assassin.
Yeah, but like you got the necromancer. Like that's something that you didn't see.
Man, okay, so my first character was a sorceress because I was like, I want to see conjuring and all that. But my main after was always going to be like a... My heart belongs to the necromancer. And come on, this is like the first game where you can like summon an army of
like a literal army
of like undead and skeletons.
The only time you get to see that many things at once that you can control was like games like StarCraft or Command & Conquer.
Yeah, and then you could create a wall of bone.
Wall of bone.
I mean, that's just blew up. These physics didn't exist in like this time where you're like in a 3D kind of like, I mean, not 3D, but you know what I'm saying, like a 3-dimensional. You can move in 3 dimensions, and you can create a bone wall to stop the enemies from getting close to you. And they have to destroy that wall, or you can literally blow up a corpse, and the corpse has damage.
Yeah, that's something that like I didn't
interactability.
Yeah,
the Necromancer was amazing, and the Necromancer is fondly remembered by anyone who played Diablo 2.
I did fondly remember the Necromancer.
And really, no game has really been able to capture quite the essence. Maybe another game on this list I'll talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
But the Necromancer was the highlight, I think, for a lot of people in Diablo 2. The Sorceress was an overall increase. I mean, everyone made a meteor orb where you basically teleported around.
Or Frost Orb.
And Frost Orb, yeah. Where you just teleported around, drop meteors and frost orbs. There's Hydra, but there's a lot of builds. An Enchantress build.
That's the one thing I liked about Diablo 2 is that within the same character, me and you can play them completely differently.
I don't know if you remember, me, you, and Aaron each played a sorceress. We were thinking we decided to do like a triad thing. I think. And I can't remember who was fire. Someone was lightning, and someone was ice.
You were fire when we tried this. I was ice, and Aaron was I was supposed to be lightning. Aaron was ice.
So yeah, we each made our own. I mean, even at the same class, they play so differently.
Yeah, they play differently.
I mean, the game was just amazing. The graphics at the time were very. I mean, they were great
for the time.
The special effects. I mean, not the graphics, but the fact that I can summon a blizzard, or I can summon a Hydra, or I can summon a lightning bolt.
I mean, back then, graphic cards were kind of like not that different from each other. Unlike nowadays, where your
graphics didn't really. They're mostly integrated, and they were
bad. Yeah. The key was that they were all bad.
So it didn't matter. Your computer really didn't matter a whole lot. It did a little bit.
Your CPU is the only thing that really mattered.
Yeah. So I mean, the graphics weren't blowing my mind back then. I mean, they might as well have been.
I mean, they blew my mind back then.
They were good. I'll say they weren't amazing. They were good. The story was awesome. I remember the story. I remember the different acts. You had 4 acts at first, and they added a 5th one in the expansion.
Yep.
So the main Diablo 2, you had those 5 characters, and you went through the story, and that was great. I mean, there's a lot of loot. The loot was better. The
way the items work were much better. They're not just flat out, you got stat ups.
There was skill trees.
They're like, this affected this skill now.
Yeah, you can level up each skill. You choose how many levels. You might put 1 level in.
Remember how Stone of Jotuns worked? Like, that's an item.
SOJs were pretty much just currency.
At first, they were really good, and then later they were currency.
Yeah, because of like a big dupe. It's a whole thing. But they eventually, basically, made our own currency in Diablo 2.
Because gold was worthless.
Yeah, so they made our own currency for trading. Which is funny because the Stone of Jordan was okay, but it was never like an amazing item.
When it first came out, it was amazing because there was nothing. They didn't know what to do. But later, Stone of Jordans were like, whatever.
So I mean, this game is so like great with the community that they even made up their own currency. I mean, it took all the interconnectedness of online and made it even better.
They took what they learned from last game, made it better.
Skill trees, items,
more
classes,
fixing the bugginess,
having a closed online server where before anyone can like alter it. They had what they call closed ladder.
Oh yeah.
So it was like it was Blizzard server, so you couldn't like just alter it from your computer. And then
but you could make your own servers if you wanted.
Yeah, they had open. They had open and closed.
That's right. Yeah.
Open was you can use your own local files and LAN.
You can cheat all you want.
Yeah, and then closed was you had to connect to their servers.
And that's where they started to care if you cheat.
Yeah. It was a great game. Then the expansion came out, which made the game even better.
Yeah, they added more loot.
Rune words. Rune words were added, which is, depending on who you ask, is the best or worst thing that could happen to the game. Because everyone was using, I can't remember the name of the rune word.
I don't remember.
Heart of the Oak. I don't remember. But they would all use that rune word, and so it kind of became like runes were the only thing that mattered. Rare items didn't matter, just sockets and runes.
Yeah. If it had a good socket.
I think charms were introduced in the expansion. Little things you kept in your inventory that gave you a small boost.
Charms were introduced.
Gems, not the jewels, or is it jewels? Jewels were introduced, not gems. Remember, there was a set. No one ever used them. It was called a jewel of so and so. It could be socketed in any weapon. It wasn't it just like gave like a random stat or something like that.
It was not very good for the most part. I think there was a few good ones, but you had to be incredibly lucky.
So the expansion, what that did, it made a good game amazing. It added a great 5th act. It added 2 great classes. I mean, the druid. That became my next main.
That became like your spirit animal after a while.
Man, I love you transformed to a freaking werewolf or a werebear.
At least in middle school, when you lived in an apartment, that became your spirit animal.
Oh my, I loved the druid was awesome. I mean, the fact that he can turn into a giant bear and just maul people.
And had 2 different movesets, technically.
Yeah. And you had the summoning power of a necro. Not quite the but you could summon wolves and a bear and a spirit oak thingy, and it was just great. The assassin was pretty interesting with claws and all that.
I thought they were fun as a younger kid, but when I think about them growing up again, I'm like, assassins, whatever.
So before we go into the rating, the best part about Diablo 2 and the expansion, we'll combine those two together. Since anytime anyone mentions it,
it's everything at this point.
The best part is I remember the next day at school, I was always excited to talk to someone on the bus about like what I did the other day, how I made a good trade, or I got an awesome drop, or I remember I bought the guidebook, and I remember during 9/11, the day 9/11 happened, I spent the majority of time talking with my friends and looking at the guidebook while everyone else was watching the TV, and it was the greatest day of my life of school because everyone was like focusing on that
because we didn't have to worry about school.
No one cared while I brought out my video game book and we were just talking about Diablo 2 the entire time.
I mean, that entire week was kind of bad.
Not for me. I mean, for the nation, I'm a history guy, social studies guy.
I don't mean like personally, but like school, we did nothing for like a week. There was nothing on TV.
I went home and I played Diablo 2. It was great. Sorry, I mean that's just my.
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. It was, but yeah. So I mean, that was the best part: interacting with friends in and outside the game.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I like about most games nowadays too.
So I mean, that was a great game. I had a couple sleepover type things, which is, I guess, a precursor to LAN parties.
I guess we never technically LANed that game together at that time because we didn't know how that worked.
Yeah.
But we did try to play together all the time. We slept over, played.
We help each other out. Like with it was great. It was great. I mean, that was a great time. Dragon Ball Z was at its zenith. It was at its height. We'd watch Toonami. I think they just finished the Frieza saga.
We'd watch the TV late into the night and then see each other the next morning.
And we found out. I don't know if you remember. We found like a Toonami thing where you can stream Dragon Ball Z episodes. And
that thing was so buggy from
it was terrible. So for me, I got a lot of great memories. I mean, all my happy childhood-ish, like middle school and early, like I think 9th or 10th grade, I stopped playing it. But high school was all from Diablo 2. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was a good social aspect and good game. So I'll give my before and after score.
Yeah, I'll give my before and after score.
Back then, 10. 10, no doubt.
Back then, I give it an 8-9, maybe not a 10.
Yeah, I mean, I know you were never quite as obsessed as I was.
I mean, I liked the game, but I was not at your levels obsessed.
Yeah, me and Aaron especially were obsessed.
Yeah, you and Aaron were definitely obsessed. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, as a Korean, I also played a lot of StarCraft, too.
Yeah.
But I also played Diablo 2 a lot.
So I give that game a 10 back then. You give it about an 8 or 9.
Yeah. About 8.5 would be a good way to put it.
I've played this game as recent as, I think, a year or two ago.
I played this recently.
I go back to it. Besides the graphics, it holds up, in my opinion.
Besides the graphics and, I guess, the archaic way of doing the skill tree.
Yeah, I mean, now they call it yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty good still.
I would give it an 8.
I'd give it probably about 7, 8, 7.5.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not bad at all. Like it aged badly, which is
if you're not a graphics whore, you'll still get it. If you've never played it, play it. It's a great game.
Yeah, I mean the big negative I give now is graphic because it's hard to see that nowadays.
Yeah, especially since it was not made for resolutions we have now.
You're right. It's meant for a CRT screen.
Yeah, I can't remember. Like I think the highest resolution is like 800 by something or something that.
It's like 600 by 480.
Yeah, that's the highest one. Yeah.
So
it's but yeah, it's a good game if you're not.
It's a good game. I recommend you at least. It's not bad. Like it aged well.
It's still supported. Like let's see, 2001. So how long ago was that? 17 years later.
Yeah,
17 years later.
Something like that.
They still have servers up, so you can still play online.
That's because it's pretty good.
And there's every ladder. There's a ladder every like a season where you restart. Everyone restarts. There's still a lot of people who play in the beginning of every ladder.
So you want to move on to Diablo 3 since we're on the Diablo train?
Yeah, Diablo 3. Oh boy.
I remember it first coming out. I played on somebody's account to see if I wanted to buy it or not. I did not like the game when it first came out.
Motherfucking pre-ordered the collector's edition.
Oh, I'm sorry at that time.
Yeah.
Back then you could trade like items for money.
Real money auction house.
Yeah. The game was heavily imbalanced. Like it was artificially difficult.
And skills sucked. I mean, items sucked. Everything sucked. Like, it was very...
This is when it first came... Yeah.
The combat was great.
Okay.
But, I mean, it was very fluid and...
It looked good. I'll give you that much.
Yeah.
It still looked good. But I think, like, the fact that later on they, like, hard counted your build...
Yeah.
To make it harder and stuff like that. Like,
and then the items, which is the most important thing, really, one of the most important things of any action RPG or Diablo, were just god-awful. And the drop rates were god-awful. Like, you would play for, I heard people saying they play for 100 hours before they found their first legendary. That's ridiculous.
And they would sell it for a lot of money.
On the auction house. And that's why they were rare drops.
Yeah.
Blizzard was controlling the drops so they can make money off the real auction house. Because if they drop like candy...
Who would buy it?
Exactly. And so it was very scummy of Blizzard.
But I'm glad that Blizzard at least changed out of that later.
It took them about 2 years.
Did it? Okay.
The first expansion. The only expansion, really. So yeah, back then it was... I mean, you had the characters. I liked how the wizard played. I thought it was
I thought the animation looked good. The graphic was great.
One thing that kind of upset me is that I didn't feel like there was as many skills because even though they had, you change the skill...
Yeah, that's the one thing that I've noticed.
I remember I was like, there's no... The wizard can't really shoot a fireball out. Back then you couldn't. You'd shoot a arcane missile that would catch them on fire. It didn't look much different. It was like a red arcane missile. That was it. There was no fireball.
I mean, my biggest qualm to this is that Diablo, they didn't do it with Diablo 2. Was some of the synergy things, you could build up on one skill if you like.
Right. It was kind of like a passive thing. Yeah, you'd build up if you put 20 points into lightning, your lightning blast or your thunder would deal 100% more damage or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have that. They didn't have synergies.
So it didn't feel like... It felt like you're going with a cookie cutter build. Even nowadays.
Yeah, even now you kind of do.
Yeah.
For me, the skills were just palette swaps. You'd have one skill, then they go, you have more skills than ever because each skill has 5 selections of what you can do with it. But all it did was change the color of the skill back then.
Or change the element.
Yeah, and even then it would just change the color. I mean, it wouldn't even change the element. It'd be like I said, an arcane missile that was red.
Oh, yeah.
Later, I mean, they still have a lot of that today, but they eventually realized, and people were pissed off, and the first expansion, or the only expansion, Reaper of Souls came out, and they pretty much fixed almost all of that.
Okay.
A little late, a little too late.
Because that's when I actually started playing with Zach again.
Yeah, now if you have a wizard, when you choose a new rune, for the most part, it kind of does change how it looks. There's some skills where it is just a color swap, but
I mean, I do feel like some of those skills aren't changing much with the system.
I mean, in reality, it's probably about the same amount of skills as each class used to have.
They just changed the element of what it feels like.
But Diablo 3 was saying there'd be more, and it's not.
It's not. Like in reality, you got 16 spells up total.
They fixed items. They fixed items in the expansion because they took out the real money auction house. They dropped more often. They fixed they made them a little bit more unique, what they actually did.
And then, I do like that a lot. Then there are the torrent levels.
Yeah, they added torment levels, which makes it even harder. They got rid of the whole you have to beat it 3 times before you can access the hardest mode.
I do like that a lot.
That was a good convenience.
That's something that I wish Diablo 2 did. But
they have unlimited They have unlimited Paragon levels, which gives you kind of a stat bonus. They have...
so it rewards you for playing a lot, but at the same time, it's not so big that you're going to be so much stronger than everybody else.
Slipping my mind what it's called, but they have an endless mode now. I don't know why it's slipping my mind.
I don't know.
Rifts, greater rifts and rifts.
Oh, greater rifts, yeah.
They added that, and so now you have unlimited. So I mean, it's pretty cool. You can grind to your heart's content, and there's like different backgrounds and random monsters. They fixed it overall now. It's still not as great as it could have been. But it's a lot better now. Yeah,
I agree. It's a lot better now than when it first came out.
I will say this about Diablo 3 now, and even back then, it does have the best combat, I think, of all, like, the smooth-wise.
Oh, no. Okay, so it's graphically...
animation-wise. It's very smooth. And
I agree with that.
It's not very choppy.
I agree with that. It has one of the best animation. Like, if you feel like you're dodging, you feel like you're dodging.
Yeah, it's a pretty good game. I like it overall. It's definitely not... It's a sad thing, because Diablo 2 was my favorite all-time action RPG. Diablo 3 is not my favorite of the generation.
Yeah, Diablo 3 is not my favorite of them.
All right, so I'm going to give 2 scores, one at release and one now. How about that? It's almost going to be like an inverse. It's going to be reverse. Back when it first came out, after the first like 10 hours and my hype died down, I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
I'd give it a 2 out of 10. Or 3. My bad, 3 out of 10. It wasn't that good. I thought it was below average. I felt like they could have done more.
They definitely could have. I mean, it was...
So that's why I'm giving it a 3. At least when it first came out.
Now, I would give it... I'd give it an 8. 7.5.
I'd give it like a 6.5 about.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I mean, it's better. It's definitely better than average. And they did a lot to fix it.
Yeah, the only issue I have with it now is set items matter so much. Like, your build is based on what set items you have.
Yeah. So I don't like that. I don't like how it's like you can't make a free roaming build like you did in Diablo 2.
Yeah, everything has a cooldown, essentially. Almost any movement-based skill has a cooldown. Although there are items that kind of get around that.
Yeah, but...
it's not quite as fast-paced moving-wise.
No, it is not.
But you could dash, teleport all around the place. Anyway, let's move on. There's like 3 more games we at least have to talk about, so let's move on. The other ones will probably be quicker since we have less history with them.
Yeah, I mean, Diablo has a huge history.
Yeah, you have to talk about all the Diablos. Come on. Diablo series as a whole, amazing series. It started off a genre. It's one of the reasons why I play action RPGs to this day. It's a great thing to play with when you want to turn your mind off and maybe have a movie on in the background after you've beaten the game. You don't need to pay attention to the story.
Yeah, and you just need a farm. So we'll get something that we streamed last Friday.
Yeah, so we did kind of like an intro to this.
It's my first time playing Grim Dawn.
Yeah, Grim Dawn, which is a spiritual successor to Titan Quest, which we'll mention in a second.
Yeah.
It's made by Crate Entertainment. It was a Kickstarter.
I didn't know it was a quick Kickstarter.
Yeah, they started off as a Kickstarter. They had bought the engine that Titan Quest was made in.
Which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's like a physics-based action RPG engine.
Yeah.
So it's great. Like if you hit someone really hard, you'll send them flying.
You'll send them flying. I also liked how they did your multi-classing. You're allowed to choose however you want to build them.
Yeah. So the game takes place in a alternate reality where it's almost like a steampunk. I don't know, steampunk. What would you call it? Like 1800, like 1700s aesthetic.
Van Helsing.
Yeah, like a gothic Van Helsing aesthetic, but the apocalypse happened.
Yeah.
These alien ethereals were summoned, and it caused this big event, and now the apocalypse, essentially, in this Van Helsing type hellscape. It's already the apocalypse. So, it's good. Well, when you played it, what were your first impressions on what you played?
Like, originally, like, when I first played it, because I had to play the game brand new, it felt kind of overwhelming with all the things you could do at once.
Oh, yeah.
But as I played again later by myself to try out the game or to get more understanding of the game, it felt more and more easy to me, and it felt more natural.
Yeah, it takes a while because this is a benefit. This is a positive and a negative of the game.
Yeah.
There is so much you can do because there's crafting, there's reputation,
there's side quests,
there's bounties of it later, which helps you increase your reputation. There's recipes for crafting. There's side skills. There's devotion, which is like a passive, which is a passive to the passive tree.
Yeah.
It gives you. There's so much it could be overwhelming.
Yeah. So like at first I was overwhelmed, but I played some more without you, just so that I get more into the game.
Yeah.
And the game felt more and more natural, and it felt pretty good after a while.
I really like this game. This might be my favorite of the generation. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about my favorite. It's good in a lot of ways.
It is very good in a lot of ways. I have not played this enough to call it my favorite.
Right. It's underappreciated gem.
But I would call it good.
I mean, the classes, like Eugene mentioned, that there's you choose 2 classes, one at level 1 and then one at level 10.
Yep. And
you can mix and match however you see fit. You get 3 points per level, which sounds like a lot, but then you gotta realize you gotta level up the class itself with those points.
So not only do you gotta worry about that, you gotta level up your class.
So it gives you a lot of opportunity. Maybe you'll max out one class and get a bunch of skills from one, and then the second one you just get like 1 or 2 passives because you want the passives to make your... Or some people like go 50-50, and it's like a true multi-class.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that you could take back every single mistake you want.
Yeah, and it's negligible, the cost.
Yeah. The cost is negligible, so like if you don't like your build because you're trying to get a certain item and you can't get it, you don't have to go with that route.
Yeah, you just go back to town and you can buy it back for 25 bits, which is their
per
goal.
level.
And it's not very expensive. I mean, I've never had problems with it.
And the thing is, like, when you run around, when you break a pot, sometimes you get like 150 of them just randomly.
Yeah, it's really easy to get money. So it's never an issue. You never have to worry about money. You can do the same thing for devotion points, by the way.
Okay.
So that's nice. You can read... Devotion points are a whole other system. It's kind of like, in a way, Path of Exiles. Gem tree, how they have, or skill tree.
I do like that a lot, but that's overwhelming at first.
It's almost like, let me put it this way, it's like, you know how set items have passives?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you choose what set item you'd like to wear without having a set item, because you gotta match all the constellations.
Yeah, I looked into that. I'm like, yeah.
Like sometimes it'll grant you a whole new skill.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So it's really cool. Like sometimes they'll say, like, the skill that you link this to, you have a 20% chance to strike lightning strike, and it's really cool because that lightning strike isn't just like a thing. They actually went all out to make that lightning strike look badass.
Yeah, it's not like just an afterthought from what I've seen. Because I also did look at more videos for stupid builds.
So I like Grim Dawn. It's very... If you like more of a traditional action RPG or more
if you like a traditional ARPG, but you also want an MMO aspect to it without the multi-mass.
Yeah, you know, with like the crafting and the... Yeah.
And the fact that you choose what quest you want to do and you talk to people.
Yeah. I like it. There's a lot to do with it. They added an expansion recently. There's another one coming out soon.
Okay.
The expansion added the Necromancer and the Inquisitor. I played the Inquisitor over there. That's the guy who uses magic items.
I played the Nightblade when we played on stream.
Yeah.
But I played every class now, at least to understand it.
It's fun. I like it. I don't know. I'll give my score. Then Eugene, you give yours based on your first impression. I would say... I mean, I put more out. This is a hard one for me. I'm going to say...
By being average.
7.5, maybe an 8. It's I like it more in Diablo 3 right now, but that switches. 8, why not?
Give it an 8?
Yeah.
I give it about a 7.5, actually. It's pretty good. There's a lot they did right.
Yeah, definitely.
There's not much they did wrong.
Yeah, I recommend you getting it. It's almost always on sale. If you're a fan of action RPGs, you should get this game. It's almost always on sale. Even when it's not, I think it's like $20 or $30.
That's not bad at all.
But when it's on sale, it's like $7.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's $7.50, I think, when on sale. There's an expansion that's $14 or $15. It adds 2 new acts, which are huge, and adds 2 new classes and a bunch of other stuff. It's a real expansion. And then there's another one coming out. I mean, on sale, definitely get it. I recommend getting it on sale. I mean, wait, because it's almost always on sale.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Steam has games like that all the time.
It's a good game. If you're looking for an action RPG, and if you ever played Titan Quest, definitely get this.
Oh, Titan Quest. I love / hate that game.
Yeah, we'll move on to a quick blurb about Titan Quest since we kind of covered a lot of Titan Quest and Grim Dawn. So
Titan Quest was a game that it's an ARPG, but like they did a lot of things right. But they also did a lot of things wrong.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, okay, the aesthetic I loved. I mean, you're an ancient.
I kind of like that a lot because it's something different.
Greece or Rome, whatever you want to call it, was awesome, and the mythology was real, like Gorgon.
Oh yeah.
That was cool. The game plays a lot, kind of like a much more archaic version of Grim Dawn.
And everything seems kind of imbalanced.
Yeah, everything is imbalanced. But like Grim Dawn, you choose 2 classes. One thing that Grim Dawn has, and this is actually a big thing that Titan Quest doesn't, you cannot dual wield.
Oh, yeah.
And Titan Quest. Not only that, but there was no two-handed weapons either. It was only one-handed weapon and shield type stuff.
I don't remember that, but
yeah.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, that was like a big improvement. Everyone was so happy when Grim Dawn out of that.
Just the fact, yeah.
Yeah, so big things like that. Actually, there might have been dual wielding. I think you could dual wield just swords, though. I think that was it.
I mean, there was what's called like player-made mods and stuff. So that's.
I know for a fact there was no two-handed weapon. Yeah, that's the problem. It's player-made. I know for a fact there was no two-handed weapons, though.
Yeah, the other problem with it is. And which is also not a problem. It's player-made mods because, like, if you want to play somebody, you both had to have the mod.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, player-made mods were great. The game overall, when it came out, I think 2006 or 7.
I was added that genre at that time.
I think it was 2006, might have been 2007. It was either early. I remember I played it definitely the summer of 07, so around that time. Overall, I mean, it was a good game at the time. It was like Diablo 2 had been revived, but in ancient Greece.
Fair enough.
I mean, at that time, because you gotta realize that was a drought for Diablo-like art.
You're right. That definitely was a drought.
I mean, there really anything had come out.
Or if it did come out, you knew it was bad.
Yeah, so this was kind of like a revival of sorts. I liked the story. It was interesting. The items were it was almost nostalgia for me back in 2006, 2007 for something that just happened like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So overall, I like it. There's a lot of problems with it.
I didn't get too far into it.
It's a good game. It's almost always like $1 on Steam. So
okay.
Yeah, it's really cheap. Give it a look. There's also an expansion. I can't remember. It has like Cerberus on the cover. I can't remember.
I don't remember too much.
Anyway, my score. I haven't played it in recent enough. It's probably been about 7 years since I played it last.
It's been a long time since I played it.
I'll give my score back then. I'd say it's about 7.
I'd say about a 5 back then. Once again, I was on my way out.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on you're a fan of action RPGs. It's a good game if you're a fan of the RPGs. It's not bad.
That's all I'm saying.
Let's move on to. Well, let's choose Torchlight and Torchlight 2.
Yeah, we'll combine them to one because they feel both kind of the same.
Yeah. Meh.
Yeah. The one thing I like about I agree on the meh part. The one thing I do like about it is that it's easy to see everything in Torchlight.
Yeah.
Like you knew where you were, you knew where the enemies were.
Yeah,
though I think that has to do with a lot of the way they did aesthetics in that game.
Yeah, it was a little bit more cartoony. The aesthetics were a lot more cartoony.
There's a lot of cartoony, but like I said, it did allow you to see everything much more.
Yeah.
Which is the only good I can say about the game.
The first game was basically kind of very reminiscent of Diablo 1, where you have an overworld and then you have like a dungeon.
Oh yeah, you just go down. Yeah.
The second one was like Diablo 2, where you had more acts and stuff. Overall, it did a good enough job copying Diablo 2. Here's my problem. There was not enough support after release.
You are right. Yeah, it felt like...
I think it's Runic Entertainment that created that. Like, they just didn't... they didn't support it very much after, because they would always say, oh, let mods fix it.
Yeah, yeah. And so, like... I felt like that just made a lackluster game.
Yeah, I feel like... I mean, it was cheap, so I can't say a cash grab. It was, I think, $20 when it was new.
I think so, too, when it first came out.
It wasn't really a cash grab, but at the same time, they weren't really...
They could have given it more love.
Yeah, and they kind of like, okay, we're going to add these classes, these skills. We're not going to change any of them. We'll do a little bit of balancing for like a month or two. After that, you know what? You can just mod it yourself.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Overall, and the story was kind of generic.
It was very generic.
But, I mean, it did a lot of things okay. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the classes either, to be honest. They weren't my cup of tea.
The game wasn't my cup of tea overall. It didn't feel as fast.
Yeah.
It felt kind of like a slow game. Slow, deliberate game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know, I didn't like the Paladin-esque type thing where you're like a kind of like a steampunk guy who...
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of weird. Like, you had giant wrenches for weapons.
I mean, like, I don't mind that aesthetic, but I don't like the cartoon part.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to give it a play. It's been probably at least 6-7 years since it came out. I mean...
I played it when it first came out, so I don't remember.
But, Torchlight 1, I'm not going to rate it. I mean, it's not a multiplayer game. It's a single player game.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not going to rate it. Torchlight 2, I'll give it a I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It's not bad. I mean, I'm sure people out there love it, and whatever, but for me, a 4 out of 10.
Giving the vanilla experience, I give it a 4. Maybe 3.5 at the vanilla experience.
If it had more support, it could have been really something amazing. Like if it
can see that definitely.
If it had expansions or major patches, yeah, definitely. But there was none.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
So I mean, it was kind of like might as well have been a single player game for Torchlight 2 as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's Torchlight 1 and 2. Maybe move over those. Do you want to talk about Path?
Yeah, which is probably my favorite of the current generation.
Path of Exile.
Path of Exile. It is my favorite current ARPG right now.
But it's so expensive to buy.
For the free price of $0.99?
Yeah. It's a free game. It feels like a...
It feels like that Diablo-like where you can choose your build now.
It does not feel like a free game. Let me put it this way.
No, okay, yes. It does not feel like a free game. And it got to the one thing that I felt like that Diablo 2 got right very well.
What's that?
Is the fact that you could build the character the way you want. And just like these synergies that you could do.
Yeah.
Except for hardcore mode. Fuck hardcore mode.
Yeah, although they do hardcore mode a little bit better, because if you die in hardcore mode, they just move you over to softcore mode.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't lose your character forever, you're just now in softcore.
You're just now in softcore. So.
Which is better than Diablo. Better and worse, because there's no permanence, I guess.
I mean, there's no risk in a sense, but at the same time there is.
Right.
But at the same time, you feel attached to that character, and you don't want to lose it.
Yeah, so my only complaint about Path of Exile is all the best looking armor is cosmetic. I know it's cosmetic, but like if you look at the in-game armors that aren't like cosmetic or buyable, they all kind of look
I know what you're talking about.
They kind of look like you're a hobo, like a castaway.
Everything is like mix match,
and some people like that charm. Like you literally take a pot and put it on your head. I mean, as you go on, obviously the gear looks better, but it doesn't look right. Yeah, it doesn't like mesh right.
Like you're now, it's like you have the finest clothes, but you got them all from like different stores, and you just put them on. You just put on whatever the best price was for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, so I mean that's my only main issue, but the classes are all good. Yeah. I mean, they have to be good, really, because you can make any class do anything.
You can make any class do anything, which I liked a lot. The only thing that your class really did is choose your starting point.
Yeah, there's a huge grid where you have to choose and
we're on that grid, and you just follow that grid.
So like the witch, who's like the sorceress, is more north on the grid, which is more towards magic-based items or magic-based stats.
And then you have like the barbarian, who's at the bottom left.
But you can move your way up as you level up. It's just that you have to go through more physical stats before you get to the magic stats.
So you could make literally like a magical barbarian.
Yeah, Wander Marauder, which is the barbarian class, is one of the most popular, or not most popular, but it's a popular enough build where there's a barbarian that goes around 2 wands.
Yeah, he goes 2 wands, he goes to blood magic.
Yeah.
And goes with and because he's near a bunch of life, he just gets a bunch of life nodes. Because blood magic takes away all your mana and uses life now.
And there's cool things like that. It's a defining. And
that's what I like about the game a lot.
Where instead of mana, you spend life instead to cast spells.
That's one of the things you can do. But yeah, that's why I like the game a lot. Like, it allowed you to play a game the way that you wanted to, and the only restriction is the items you find.
Yeah, the only issue the only other issue besides the items for when it comes to the actual core game is if you're not prepared, your build will not make it very far. I mean, it'll make it past normal. It'll get to normal. Well, since they added the new acts, I didn't play since then. Yeah, I don't know what acts. I know the first 4 acts are considered normal. I'm doing air quotes.
Yeah,
normal. You guys can't see it.
But later on, if your build sucks, you aren't going far.
Yeah.
You have to have... Okay, so, like, that's the other thing, yeah. I mean, like, you can build it what you want, but you also gotta make sure that it doesn't suck.
Yeah, I mean... Plus, I know I'm nitpick. I really like this game. It is good, but I just...
we gotta nitpick the best stuff.
The other thing I like is I love and hate totems. Because there's no self-casting. There's no person who just casts spells. They summon totems that cast it for them now.
Yeah.
So everyone builds totems.
Yeah, I don't like totems either.
Which kind of, I like the idea of totems, but the fact that everyone just does totems, kind of is a turn-off for me.
I know what you mean by that.
So I feel like I have to talk about the positives are combat is very Diablo 2-like, but modern graphics. I mean, not like amazing, but
they're not amazing graphics. Don't get me wrong,
but they're modernized. you have that freewheeling. Eventually, you have that kind of movement ability. It takes a while to get there. Like,
I mean, yeah, it takes a while to get there, but you do got that free roaming ability.
The skill tree is amazing. If you like stats and all that, you'll never feel.
Yeah, and the way you could build your character is also nice. Like, you could fork anything.
Yeah,
into anything.
And then how skills work are through gems, which you find that kind of like, remember how we talked about Diablo 1, we have to collect?
Yeah, you have to collect the gems or earn them through missions.
Yeah, so you earn skills through either missions or finding them off drops.
And then you could combine more gems with other gems somehow.
Yeah, there's skill gems, which are like
lightning bolts.
Yeah, and then there's support gems, which you put next to that lightning bolt, and it'll say...
Or anything that's connected to it, really.
Yeah, so you'll say you put the support gem that's connected to the lightning bolt, and it says cast any gems that are in this combo, cast an additional 2 times. So every time you cast lightning bolt, you cast it additional 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool like that.
And the thing is, if you get one that has a big attachment, you can equip 5 spells to double cast.
Yeah, generally what it is each equipment sockets are very important. I mean,
and how they're connected.
Yeah, I think every single piece of item has sockets.
Every piece of item has sockets. Some of them are bad, and some of them are great.
Yes, unique items aren't the end all be all because sockets are so important.
I like that a lot. It's not that the equipment that matters too much in that sense, but anything that you find like that.
I think, is it 6 or 8? I always get confused with the maximum sockets are.
I want to say 6 in my head.
So if you get a 6 socket, and there's different color sockets, that matters.
That are all linked together.
There's 3 colors, well technically 4. One's a rainbow slot, which anything can go into.
It's a clear
white,
slot, yeah. Because I remember one time, when I first played it, I do have this item somewhere, but it's a 6-piece body armor, that's all white.
Wow.
But it's only on softcore.
Yeah. I think that might be called Tabula Rasa.
You think so?
I think that's the name of the item. I think it's a unique.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay.
But it was a season givegiveaway.
Yeah. Tabula Rasa. Yeah. It's a lot of people. You'll see a lot of people wear it because of that. Because it's so good because you can literally put anything
you want on there, and
which is another thing I like about it, because armor rating and all that isn't as important as the sockets.
The only time stats I think that matter in the game are on your weapons.
Yeah.
Because your weapon dictates how much damage you do.
But even then, that could be mitigated depending on your build.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why it's good. I mean, because that's one thing I didn't like about Diablo 3. Going back to that all your damage was percentage based.
Yeah.
Of your main weapon. So it says this skill does 240% of your weapon damage. I'm so really, what's the point? I mean, that means I'm just going to look for the weapon with the highest DPS.
Right. The other stats don't matter as too much.
Where in Path of Exile, it's not...
the only thing that like I said, it still matters a little bit, but not too much.
Not as much, yeah.
And the only thing that really matters is the socket slots you find. And thing is, right, sometimes all you need is the sockets you want is on your armor, not your weapon.
Yeah, we mentioned this game during the free-to-play thing, so this is a game that we both play and like. Yeah. It's free-to-play, very fair.
You know what? They can see that episode, see our score.
Yeah. I can't remember if we definitely had a score. Yeah, we scored.
We definitely scored it.
So, yeah. Now go watch the episode called Free-to-Play.
Yeah, now go play that so you'll know our score.
So I mean, Path of Exile is a good game. Overall, I like it.
It's my current favorite ARPG right now.
So I mean, if you're looking for an ARPG, definitely give that a free download. So,
and tell them that we sent you.
Yes, and tell them that you should sponsor us. I don't know, a $10 million deal seems fair to me.
That sounds amazing. I don't have to ever work the rest of my life. What?
I don't know what you thinking. The $10 million goes to me.
What?
So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other action RPGs that we were going to talk about.
I don't remember. I thought that was most of it, mostly.
Yeah, I think we hit them all, really.
We hit all the good ones.
Yeah, all the big ones. I mean, there's other ones out there, obviously. There's something called Slay the Dragon.
I've not played that.
It's a very cheap... I don't want to say shitty game, but, it's it's an indie game, so...
Okay.
Keep an eye. I mean, if you're looking for something cheap, it's 99 cents. Why not? I guess it's single. I think it's only single player. Enter the Gungeon is kind of.
I call that a roguelike, really, at that point. Well, but at the same time, it is. I don't know what to consider that.
Yeah, there's the Fate series, or the Fate series. It's an old computer series, Mists and all that. So let's go ahead and we'll just do our closing stuff.
You can find us at Twitter at Canon
_incorrect. Yeah, Canon _incorrect.
Or if you're watching this on video, it will be put under.
Yeah, it'll be put on the episode. Follow us, please. Comment in the YouTube videos.
Like, subscribe.
We will read, and heck, we might even respond. Actually, I will respond.
I'll respond to. Hell, if you guys want an episode for us to talk about, we will talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about anything. We don't have anything in solid for next week's episode, so
no, we don't.
So we are going to be streaming as always on Twitch on Friday.
Yep,
and that's at Canon Incorrect, one word.
It should be. I mean, yes, Canon Incorrect.
Canon Incorrect, one word. That's Twitch. I always post it on the Twitter.
Yeah, we play a lot of games.
Yeah, anything really. I mean, we play Paladins a lot.
We play Paladins. We played ARPGs for this.
Yeah, I mean, anything. We're talking about maybe playing card games one night.
Yeah, we got to figure that one out.
Yeah, so keep an eye. We are looking to expand. We are going to expand more outside of this. I also want. We're thinking about doing bringing this on Eugene again in the middle of an episode. We're thinking about doing review videos, like they're separate, so it saves us some time in this, like separate review videos we can make, so we can review and have it separate.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time.
I'm looking for a camera so we can maybe do short skits that are more comedy related, because I know this is more serious when we talk, although I swear we're funny.
You sure?
I don't know. I treat this like, I don't know, I swear